He's blamed poor signings and loss of enthusiasm for his decision, dismissing reports he was in ill health and bound for Canada. Well, for more on that story, Tyrone Smith is here with all the details.
Yes, Sarah. United fans were kept guessing until late this afternoon over developments at Tannadice. Former Aberdeen boss Alex Smith will take over as interim manager with the support of John Blackley and Maurice Malpass.
As Dundee United players returned from training at lunchtime, Paul Sturrock was still discussing his resignation with chairman Jim McLean and the Tannadice board. Then around 4 o'clock he met the media to first of all deny any rumours of ill health or that he was heading for Canada. Then to spell out why he was leaving the club after 2 years in the hot seat.
I'm tired and I'm not enjoying my work.
Why is that, Paul?
I think I've been 11 years as a coach and a manager at 2 different clubs, and when people seem to think that the job is from 8 till 5, it's a 24-hour job. I'm saying, and at the end of the day, it's getting a more difficult job as the years go on, with bossmen and all sorts of different things now, and media coverage and everything else, and I need a rest.
Before joining United, Sturrock had a successful spell at McDermott Park, taking St Johnstone from the First Division into the Premier League. But when the chance came to rejoin the club he played for during the golden years at Tannadice, when they won the league championship and were almost a fixture in European competitions, he jumped at it. And when he took over from Tommy McLean, he had dreams of bringing back the glory days, but admitted being a former player made life difficult. United looked to have turned the corner early last season, but since the start of the year, they've failed to win a home league game, despite bringing in more than 20 new players.
So I think I've made bad signings at key times in the season. I felt that the 4 or 5 players I would bring in would bolster the young players. That hasn't happened, and too much pressure has been put on young players too quickly in their careers. E.g., as seen by the results at the end of the season and at the beginning of this season.
United moved quickly to replace Sturrock, bringing in former Don's boss Alex Smith as interim manager, with John Blackley and Maurice Malpass in support.
First of all, I was very sad to hear about Paul. He's done an awful lot of good work in this club, and he's probably felt the strain of the fact that when he played here, that this club won big European Cup finals, and he was playing with top players and striving to try and get the club back to that position.
But I understand what Alex was saying about the pressure to try and get the club back to where we were. But it took us a wee while to get there, and unfortunately we slipped, and it'll take us a wee while to get back again.
Paul Sturrock will now take a break from football, but says once he's rekindled his enthusiasm, he wants back in the game.
Dundee United chairman Jim McLean has said Alex Smith may be the man for the United manager's job full-time, following Paul Sturrock's shock departure. Smith's been brought in on an interim basis, but as McLean told Alan Saunders, he may have a long-term future at Tannadice. He began by asking him who he blamed for Sturrock's departure.
Manager first and foremost. We as managers honestly are very happy when we sign players that get us winning teams. But obviously we're very disappointed with the signings that get us defeats, and there's no doubt that Paul holds his hands up in that aspect, and everybody makes bad signings, but unfortunately too many of Paul's signings have definitely let him and the club down. But I think that at the end of the day that the most important thing is that we will not get back to the standard that Paul and them set overnight. It will take time, and I had hoped that, contrary to what some of the rumours that's been going about, I had hoped that Paul would ensure that he at least got as much time as he possibly could. But he's made the decision, and we respect that decision.
Alex Smith, interim manager, does that suggest then that you're still looking for another replacement?
It means that we're looking for a replacement to Paul Sturrock, but it doesn't mean that necessarily Alex Smith. I would hope that that's it sorted out and we're all happy. What we want is a winning team on the park on Saturday, and starting Saturday against Motherwell. But there's no doubts at all that we can't be rushed into anything, although people might think that there's been something organised. I can assure you that why we've held you here at the ground for the length of time is because we felt we needed to be positive in this situation, and we have without doubt acted positively in making a quick decision as interim manager. But I for one hope that Alex Smith is the man.
Well, the need to emulate the United sides of the 80s has dogged the managers who've succeeded Jim McLean. As the new firm have struggled to recreate the glory years, the Tannadice faithful have watched 4 managers try and fail to find the formula for success.
Try as they might, a succession of managers have attempted and failed to emulate the heady days of United's first and only championship victory in 1983. Stepping out of the shadows of Jim McLean's legacy has proved impossible for Ivan Golak, Billy Kirkwood, Tommy McLean and now Paul Sturrock. All suffered from the fans and their own expectations of what success on Sandeman Street really is. Now Maurice Malpas, who only hung up his boots at the end of last season, will have to call on more than 20 years steeped in the tangerine and black when he moves into his new role. Ex-United player Stuart McKimmie agrees with Jim McLean of the need for an experienced man alongside Malpas. The former Dons boss and current Scotland under-21 manager Alex Smith would seem to fit the bill.
It's too soon for Maurice. He has been involved in a coaching capacity at United, and it would be quite difficult, and you'd expect a bit too high an expectancy, I think, for Maurice to come in and turn things around. I would like to think if they were to get a manager, it would be an experienced manager, someone who can hold his own, especially with Mr McLean in the background. That is always a problem there.
But as Stuart points out, it'll be an enormous achievement if the new managerial team can produce a side capable of eclipsing that of their chairman.
Whoever's taken the job in the last sort of 5-6 years, they've had Jim McLean breathing down their neck. Now they need to get someone with a bit of experience, someone who can look after the management himself and handle Jim, keep him out of the fray. I think that's the type of person they've got to go for.
The newest managerial pairing in Scottish football will have a quick test of what they can achieve in a week when Motherwell travel to Tannadice this weekend.
Tannadice boss today confirmed that he'd resigned because of the emotion of managing the club he once starred for as a player. He said that was too much to take. Former Aberdeen boss Alex Smith has been appointed interim manager. He'll be assisted by Maurice Malpas and John Blackley.
Paul Sturrock has decided it's time to walk away from the game he loves. Not for health reasons, he simply needs a rest.
I've been 11 years as a coach and a manager at 2 different clubs. And when people seem to think that the job is from 8 till 5, it's a 24-hour job. I'm saying, and at the end of the day, it's getting a more difficult job as the years go on.
Paul Sturrock will take 2 to 3 months out of football, but he hopes to return in a coaching or managerial capacity. In the meantime, it's up to Alex Smith to try and bring the good times back to Tannadice.
First of all, I'm coming in just to steady the ship a bit and hopefully get the players playing to their best potential and hopefully start getting some results.
Sturrock's resignation was accepted with reluctance by the United board, but it comes after a poor start to the season.
We definitely were very disappointed with the results and performances, and it has, without any doubt, the supporters deserve better. The players that we have at the club should have been doing better. Whatever the reason, contrary to what people believe outside, I never go to training, so I can't give the answers to what's going on, because I really believe that you play as you train, and there's no doubts at all that Paul's held his hands up and he says he's been disappointed with the performances and the results.
United will try to kick-start their season against Motherwell at Tannadice this weekend.